artificial intelligence. I mean, it feels like it's just everywhere all of a sudden, right? Like this overnight revolution that's changing everything. But the truth is, this revolution was decades in the making. So how did we get from a philosophical question about thinking machines to the actual powerful AI sitting in our pockets? Well, let's dive in and uncover the origin story of AI.
First, let's just think about how much AI is already a part of our daily lives. I'm talking about the voice on your phone or your smart speaker, right? It's always there, ready to answer a question, set a timer, or play your favorite song. These virtual assistants, they're really the face of AI for most of us, designed to make this incredibly complex tech feel super simple and, well, conversational.
But AI is also working hard behind the scenes. You ever wonder how an ad for something you were just thinking about suddenly pops up in your social media feed? Yeah, that's not magic, that's AI. It's the engine that powers all that personalized marketing and the recommendation systems that know exactly what movie you want to watch next. It's always learning from data to guess what you want to see.
And of course, more recently, you've seen the absolute explosion of generative AI. This is the tech behind those super sophisticated chatbots and writing tools that can create text, code, even images from scratch. Honestly, this is the leap forward that makes it feel like we're finally interacting with something truly intelligent.
Okay, so we've seen where it is, but what exactly is AI? You know, if you go back to the very beginning, the whole dream was this: to create machines that could simulate human intelligence. It was never just about doing math really fast. It was about learning, reasoning, and even creativity. And this dream, this question, it started way before the first computer was ever built. For centuries, the idea of artificial beings was just stuff you'd find in myths and philosophy. But then, right in the middle of the 20th century, it became a serious scientific question.
The story of modern AI really kicks off in 1950, and it starts with the brilliant mathematician Alan Turing. He published this landmark paper that didn't just ask if machines could think. He actually proposed a way to find out. And here's where Turing was so clever. He realized that asking, "Can machines think?" is, well, it's kind of vague. You could argue forever about what the word think even means. So he just sidestepped the whole debate and reframed it as a practical test, basically a game.
He called it the imitation game, which we all now know as the Turing test. Okay, so imagine this. You've got an interrogator in a room, typing questions. They're connected to two other players, a human and a machine, but they don't know which is which. If the machine's answers are so human-like that the interrogator can't tell it apart from the real person, well, it passes the test. This simple, brilliant idea gave the whole field its first real goal.
So Turing's idea laid the philosophical groundwork. But how did we get from a thought experiment to an actual, funded field of scientific research?
Well, the big moment comes 6 years later. In 1956, at something called the Dartmouth Summer Research Project. You have to remember this workshop because it is widely considered the founding event of AI. It's where a group of really ambitious scientists got together to officially give the field a name and kick the whole thing off.
And just listen to the incredible optimism in their proposal. Their core belief was this: that intelligence, in all its messy, amazing complexity, learning, language, creativity, wasn't some unknowable magic. No, they believed it was a mechanism, a puzzle, that could be understood, described, and ultimately simulated by a machine.
But you know how it goes, that incredible, boundless optimism, it ran smack into a brick wall of reality. As brilliant as they were, the founders of AI had just massively underestimated how hard the problem of intelligence really was.
And what followed was this crazy boom and bust cycle. You'd have these periods of huge excitement and funding, followed by what they called AI winters, these long stretches of disillusionment and budget cuts when progress just ground to a halt. There was a little thaw in the 80s with these expert systems, but that fizzled out too.
And this really shows you the disconnect. The promise was human-level intelligence within a generation. The reality, it was way harder than anyone thought. Early AI programs could solve little puzzles, but they got totally overwhelmed by real-world complexity, what scientists call the combinatorial explosion. Just think about a game of chess. The number of possible moves becomes astronomical really fast. And when the progress wasn't there, critical reports came out, and governments started pulling their funding.
So if progress stalled for so long, what changed? Why are we in this AI boom right now? The answer is a massive, revolutionary shift in the whole approach to building intelligence.
So the old way, which we call symbolic AI, was a top-down approach. Basically, humans tried to teach a machine about the world by hand-coding thousands and thousands of rules. Like, to teach it what a cat is, you'd have to write,
If it has fur, and it has whiskers, and it has pointy ears, then it might be a cat. You can see how that gets super complicated and brittle fast.
The new approach, machine learning, completely flipped this on its head. It's bottom up. Instead of feeding the machine a bunch of rules, you just show it a million pictures of cats and let it learn the pattern for itself. It does this using things called neural networks, which are kind of loosely inspired by how our own brains are wired. This was the breakthrough. We stopped trying to program intelligence and started building systems that could learn it.
And this new approach really came along at the perfect moment. The modern AI boom that we're living through is basically a perfect storm. You've got these bottom-up machine learning algorithms combined with the insane amounts of data on the internet, and finally, computers that are powerful enough to process it all.
So, this entire journey, from a simple thought experiment to a global technological revolution, it brings us right back here, to today, and to some really profound questions we now have to face.
And that brings us to maybe the biggest question in the field today, the AI alignment problem. Put simply, it's this. How do we make sure a super intelligent AI's goals are actually aligned with our own? See, an AI will do exactly what you tell it to do. But if your instructions aren't perfect, it might achieve that goal in some catastrophic way you never intended. It's the ultimate be careful what you wish for problem.
Which leaves us with this pretty heavy question, which comes from a letter signed by thousands of top AI researchers and tech leaders. This is not science fiction anymore. It is the central, sober debate of our time. Now that we've seen how these thinking machines were built, the question for all of us is what comes next?